All right, I think we're live. Welcome to the Heroscape Meet the Team panel. So here we are. This is just to give you a little bit of background. This is not the entire team that's going to be working on Heroscape, but these are some of the primary people that are driving Heroscape forward here at Renegade, and that you'll probably be interacting with over the coming months to years as we, like kind of bring Heroscape back from the dead and make it the awesome game that everybody wants it to be. So without further ado, I'm going to go around all our little boxes here of people's heads, and we're going to let everybody introduce themselves. I'll start first. So I'm Scott Gaeta, Renegade Game Studios president and publisher. And let's next go to Dan Bojanowski. So Dan Bojanowski, I'll give you his title and a little bit of preface. He's our senior producer. So he kind of runs all of our game, board and card game products here at Renegade. But tell us a little bit about yourself, Dan.
Yeah, hello everybody. Nice to see you, Dan Bojanowski. I've been with Renegade for 6 to 7 years now. For quite a while. I've known Scott for 20 years. Been in the game industry for about 20 years, doing all sorts of various things. I live, eat, and breathe games, so I'm right at home making them. For those who don't know what a producer does, I'll give a little bit of a background there. So I'll tell you what I don't do. I don't design games. I don't do graphic design. I don't write the rules. I don't illustrate things. I don't do any of that. But what I do is I work with all of those other teams to make it a great game, figuring out what the configurations are for products, figuring out making sure it works financially, coordinating things, making sure everything looks right, double checking a lot of things. We get a lot of pack out checks from the factory. It's a lot of like herding the other people to make sure that it all, provide a vision and make sure it all goes in the right direction. So I love what I do. I have said this before. This is my dream job, and I'm super excited to be here and working on Heroscape now.
All right, cool. Next, let's go to Jeannie Torres, who is our creative director for Heroscape moving forward. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Jeannie.
I am. Hello, everyone. And hey, Dan, by the way, I love having you as a sidekick. He is so helpful. So he's got my back and I got his all the time. So hi, I'm Jeannie Torres. I'm one of the creative directors here at Renegade Games. I've had the privilege of working here for about 6 years, but full-time for the last 3. I have the awesome task of hiring illustrators, artists, managing other graphic designers and production artists. I get to work on designing packaging and design all the awesome components and go into games. Honestly, I'm really stoked to get going on Heroscape with this super team we have here. So yeah, I'm super, super happy, super excited. I as well love this job. It fulfills me.
Nice. So for those of you that have been with Renegade and playing some of our games for a while, you're familiar with Jeannie's work because she has been the creative director on all the Hasbro branded things like Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, My Little Pony, and Transformers, card and or board games, miniatures games, and all of that sort of stuff. And now she's moving to Heroscape to head up Heroscape. So, all right, next up, let's go to Lee. So Lee just recently joined the team. What is it, about a month or so ago? 6 weeks, something like that?
I think a month now.
Yeah.
I don't know when my official anniversary. Oh, no, it's been a month. Yes. Because my first day was Labor Day. My first day was a holiday.
Nice. So Lee is our associate producer for Heroscape, 100% dedicated to Heroscape, 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, Heroscape all day, all the time.
Maybe not 24/7, but most of the day, yes. At least 8 of it.
Okay. All right. Okay.
Occasionally at 2 a.m. if I'm up.
Okay. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I'm Lee. I've worked professionally in the tabletop industry for close to 5 years now. Renegade for about a month. And I got my start. I started with Fantasy Flight Games, and I worked in organized play. And then I eventually joined the production team with Asmodee North America and handled production for a bunch of really great titles. I've worked on Shatterpoint, X-Wing, little bit of Star Wars Legion and Pandemic. So, and then I joined Renegade because I was like, oh my goodness, they're hiring for Heroscape. This is like dream job part 2. And here I am.
Nice. All right. And last but certainly not least, that mysterious figure somewhere. I don't know where everybody's arranged on your screens at home, but on mine, she's down in the corner here. So it's very foreboding. So Rowan joins the team as our game designer. She joins the game design team and will be leading Heroscape game design going forward. So Rowan, why don't you reveal yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
Welcome to our stream. What is a reveal stream without a little bit of drama? I meet the team stream naturally. Hello. Good to meet you all over the internet. As I was mentioned, my name is Rowan. I will be designing for Heroscape. I am so extremely thrilled to be designing for Heroscape that I can't even think of anything intelligent to say. But I previously was working with Atomic Mass Games, working on Marvel Crisis Protocol, if anyone is familiar with that. I did a lot of work on their narrative events, their renewal of vows, if anyone is playing Crisis Protocol, the ultimate encounters, those sorts of things that pack the punch, pack the story, bring it into the game. So I'm overjoyed to be here working on games that I've been playing since I was quite small.
Nice.
And now I'm not so small anymore and I'm ready to work.
Nice. Yeah, so both Lee and Rowan joined the team recently and have just been totally immersing themselves in the Heroscape project and getting lots and lots and lots of things done. So I'm going to start asking you guys different questions, and we'll see what we can drag out of these people. So Lee, what was your first experience with Heroscape? Like, are you new to Heroscape? Is this just like, oh, I got a job like making Heroscape stuff, and I guess maybe I should check out and see what that thing is, or is there a background here?
Oh my goodness. So back when I was a poor college student, my husband and I, like, we enjoyed playing games, but we're like, oh my goodness, they're so stinking expensive. So like, we really got into like Arkham Horror and things like that, and we're like, but these games are so stinking expensive. And then one day or one evening, it stormed like crazy, and we're like, well, let's just pull over and stop at a store. And like, we were like sort of out in like more rural area, and we were at a Fleet Farm, and we're like, okay, I guess we'll take cover at Fleet Farm. And then we walked through the aisles, and terrible selection of video games, and we went through the toy aisle and we saw Heroscape, and we're like, what is this? And we opened up, we looked at it, it was the Rise of the Valkyrie core set or master set, and it was only $40, and at the time we could afford it, so we're like, all right, cool, let's get this. And then we didn't have a dining room table for several months because that was where Heroscape lived. And then after that, it was collecting more of the figures, stocking Toys R Us, getting like the exclusives, like the flag bearer figures. My only regret is I wasn't able to get 2 of the terrain expansions. So no volcanic tiles and no snow tiles for me, but I have most of everything else. But yeah, that is my experience with Heroscape. So roughly around launch up, and now I get to do it professionally, so which is awesome.
Nice. All right, Lee. I'm sorry, Lee. Rowan. So tell us a little bit of your first experiences with Heroscape.
Absolutely. So my parents have been hobby gaming since before hobby gaming was really a set of words that we put together. They would always bring home weird games and play them with us growing up. And my dad actually taught me probabilities by making me play war games with him and losing them a lot of times. And one of the games that I played a lot was Heroscape. So I've been collecting the figures since some of my younger siblings might have chewed on some of them. So that's my experience with Heroscape. Is I've been playing it. I've been loving it since chewing was an option for some people in the household.
Nice.
Not me, of course. Certainly not.
Right. All right. So let's jump over to Jeannie real quick. I have a question for you, Jeannie. So what does a creative director do on a game? Like what's your involvement? Like what kind of parts of the project do you touch?
All of it. No, I'll work really close, especially with like Lee and Rowan here about the look that we want to achieve, right? For the game, for the packaging, especially the box. I mean, that's the first thing that a customer sees, and it's so important to get it right and to, make sure that the brand is strong and it looks the way it should be. So we'll be working super close together, making sure that we are selecting the right artists and we are designing, the right look. You want to make sure that you have the right look for every component there is in a game. And so first it starts with hiring artists, and then you art direct them. And then, if I get the time, I mean, my choice is to design the packaging in the box and, card frames and things like that. And if I can't do it, then I'm gonna bring on another graphic designer to help me. And then when there's the rule book and a whole lot of stuff to lay out, and I'll usually have a production artist under that. So my job is to really oversee all of the visual aspects of the game. I'll rely on the game designers to obviously create the game, but I want to make that game look amazing. And so that is my job, and that's what's on my shoulders, and I love it. So that kind of gives you a little bit of an idea.
One of the, if I may, one of the interesting things about this particular project, a lot of the stuff that Jeannie has worked on, it's a blank slate. So she starts it from nothing and creates it from the style guides or if there's not a style guide, just from her brain. But in this case, we've got years of previous products that have come out, games and releases. So there's established card frames, there's established logos, there's established boxes and art styles. So it's that one of the challenges here is figuring out what Heroscape looks like now, and we don't want to throw the baby out. We don't want to, start from scratch. There's a lot of good history. There's a lot of goodwill. There's a lot of nostalgia that people love about this game. So it's finding that balance of, working with what's come before and giving it new modern look.
Right. And you want to keep that integrity, and and also please your fans, and make it where everyone loves it. Like that's just your goal. It's so simple, but you just want to make it look good and everyone's gonna love it. So that's me.
All right, cool. Lee, tell us a little bit about like what does a typical day for you look like working on Heroscape?
I feel like I can't describe it as a typical day. Let me start it as a week. My week starts with Rowan, and we're like, all right, here's all this cool things. Here are all these cool things. What can we do with them? Where should these things go? Do these things work well together? And based on those conversations, then I'm like, okay, well, based on all these discussions I've had with Rowan, then I can plan like what the product line is going to look like. So like, what is Heroscape going to look like? Like, all right, do we shove everything into the box, into a master set, or do we do other cool things with it? And so it's figuring all that out, when we would release them, and then the end of the week is documenting all of that and putting together all the appropriate documents that reflect all of that.
Yeah. All right. So people at home might not realize like how important this is. This like I often compare making a game is like conducting an orchestra. So right, there's lots of different instruments. Everybody's playing their piece of the music, but if everybody's piece of the music isn't in sync, like we don't get a beautiful song. And the producers like Lee and Dan are not necessarily always writing the music, but they're coordinating the music so it actually comes out at the end into something that's amazing and sounds great. So I can't stress enough like how how amazing of a job so far Lee has done. Like just hit the ground running. All her past experience is like just totally funneled into Heroscape, and it's really, really, really cool. So Rowan, same question. Like, what is your typical day looking like right now? Like, I know it might change because I think we're getting ready to shift to some other focuses in a couple weeks. But currently, what does it look like?
Well, first, I want to give Lee immense credit for not name dropping any of the things that we have been working on. Because I've been sitting here like, oh, I see you talking around. What is it we do? Well,
I know.
so,
it was tough.
Right now, our days involve, like Lee said, looking at a holistic view of Heroscape as a line, as a living game. That you can't just start making figures and go. That's not what leads to a healthy game months, years down the line. You have to really know where you're going before you hit the path with something like this. So that's what we've been working. Lee and I spend the majority of our day together talking about this, and soon Dan helps, Scott, Jeannie, people who are not even on this call. I'm constantly bothering people about here's what I think we should do, and they come back to me with their pieces of that's good, that's better, let's do this, and we're trying to plan the scope. But on a more normal day, it would be sitting around with the hammer, hammering on Heroscape figures to make them the best they can be, to fit them into where they need to fit into the world at large here.
So you don't literally mean taking heroes, like your playtest lab isn't filled with smashed Heroscape figures.
No,
right? Like,
figures are far too valuable to smash.
Okay.
No,
okay.
they're chewed up. There's a difference.
Yes, I chew on them to test them for authenticity.
Yeah.
No,
well,
no.
I think it right, like last night, I think somebody mentioned something in some meeting that like, oh yeah, Renegade Con's kicking off, and tune in. And I think Rowan's response was like, I'm gonna be busy like doing a play test for Heroscape with a bunch of people. So sorry, I won't be able to tune in, but knock them dead there, Friday night crew. So all right, so right, we have like Lee's putting things together, documentation, like working with Dan to make a great like piece of music. Rowan is working on figure design and game mechanics, and then we have Jeannie doing art. So Jeannie, tell us, like, what is the process like when Rowan comes up with a figure, either a new figure or maybe it was an Agent of Annihilation figure, and we need to create a piece of art, or we decide that these are our marquee characters for this piece of packaging, and now we need art, right? Like we need some amazing art for the packaging. So how does that work? How do you work? How do you maybe like work with Rowan and Lee on that, and Dan? And
well, usually, sorry, Scott, I was cutting you off.
No, it's good.
Usually we would, talk together, and we'll probably do like, like in the past, we'll research some artists. We'll actually look through our Renegade pool of artists. We have a huge pool of artists. And what I'm looking for is style that meets that fits Heroscape. And there's my dogs. Of course.
Mailman's here.
Of course, like right now when I'm talking. So we'll look through like portfolios or ArtStation or even Instagram, and we'll discuss what feel is right, what illustration style is right for each game and expansion. And then from there we'll I'll reach out to an artist, see if they're available, interested. Usually they are, which is amazing. And I think what's the most important is having that clear communication with the artist, right? Because we're living in a day, or at least we've been virtual a lot lately, so it's like you want to make sure that you convey your ideas to the artists, and that they're able to understand and visualize, and present concepts that they're on track, right? So I think just building the relationship with the artists, making sure that communication is good, everyone's having a fun time, you're gonna get amazing pieces at the end, and it just makes everyone super happy. And I've worked with a lot of artists, and there's things that pop up like Dan Mora or Robert Atkins, and you're just like, wow, that is a dang good piece. That is so awesome. Yeah. It just makes you feel so good when you got good artwork to put on that cover. So that's kind of like a general idea of how we actually get to that point.
Cool. Yeah, like I see some people in chat commenting like, what's the art for? So, I mean, art touches lots of different things, from the packaging art to, card design, which is more, graphic design and frames and things like that, card backs, marketing art. Like a lot of times we're either using things from packaging or we're commissioning even art from scratch just to use in marketing, like, huge banners and all sorts of crazy stuff, or promo items. And then, of course, sketches and references for sculpts and things like that for new characters. Because one of the cool things about Heroscape is that we can create new characters and new personas like from scratch. So it's not just like saying, we're going to do a Transformers game and, Bumblebee looks like Bumblebee. Like when we make something that's Bumblebee, it has to kind of fit like what Bumblebee actually has a style guide to follow. But Heroscape is pretty fun because it's kind of like, all those restrictions are off and we can go crazy. And if you looked at the Age of Annihilation figures, the Avalon Hill team originally went a little crazy, and they came up with some pretty crazy stuff and some really cool designs that in a few cases we're figuring out how to make work because they're a little nuts. A certain blimp comes to mind. So yeah, so we're having fun with that. So hope that gives you some more insight there in the chat. So I guess, Lee, without giving too much away, tell me something. Tell us like what you've been working on without saying exactly what you've been working on, but you can say a little bit of what you've been working on.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
Give us your riddles 3, Lee.
Yeah.
Right. Well, I already said master set. But what I am trying my hardest to do is to create a thing that is lower in price, like a low cost entry point. So then that way, if you're like, man, I can't afford the master set, or oh, my kids would love this, boom, there it is. There are so many words I couldn't use to describe it. Oh my goodness, that was tough. Also, I feel like another obvious answer, terrain. So you can expect to see a lot of terrain. I know that the community is holding on to their precious terrain, but it's also precious and breaking because you don't store it properly, like sun damage or whatnot, or you're like, I want more terrain and I want it now. I mean, it won't be now, it will be when it comes out. But yeah.
Yeah. So how many different terrain packs are you working on right now?
3 currently, but
three terrain packs.
I would like for there to be more.
Yes. Well, there will be more.
Oh, there will be. Yes, but 3 right now.
Yeah. Somebody in chat said master set confirmed. Yes, there's going to be a master set. There's going to be I mean, this isn't really like giving away, like it's kind of the obvious, right, folks? Like, yes, there's going to be a big box set that comes with lots of terrain and lots of figures, so you can have, big epic battles and lots of fun. So yes. And yes, it's probably, you can read between the lines when Lee says a lower price point thing, there's going to be more of it's not a starter set, right? Like something that's more for the uninitiated player to jump on, give Heroscape a try without having to buy, big box master set. So yes, like everybody in chat's like, woo, yeah, like I think we're kind of telling you the obvious, but yeah, I guess it's nice that we're confirming that we're doing those things. So all right, I'm gonna skip over Rowan for just a second, go back to Dan. So Dan, like all this stuff's going on, and it sounds like Lee's doing all the work. Like, what does a senior producer do? Like we got Lee's in there, like in the trenches, like engineering SKUs and doing all this stuff, and you're like senior producer to me. Like, I don't know, like you're the guy sitting with his feet up on the desk, kind of going
Totally.
Entertain me.
No, yeah, I mean, no, Lee and Rowan are doing a lot of the brunt work on the legwork on figuring things out, diving into the files, making plans. For me, I've also got my fingers in whereas Lee and Rowan are dedicated to Heroscape. Heroscape is one thing that I do along with many other, Axis and Allies and Robo Rally and all these other wonderful brands that I get to work on, that I'm producing those specifically. So with Lee and Rowan both being relatively new to the company, they bring with them a lot of great industry experience and Heroscape specific experience, which is why we brought them on board. But what they don't have is a lot of experience to navigate Renegade. And any company has, their own hurdles and their own, like, talk to this person, or this is how you get this done, or this is the documentation you need to get the approval here. So my role is a lot of supervisory, helping them navigate those waters, providing insight from my 20 plus years experience in the tabletop industry as a professional. Just making sure that nothing's going off the rails when they have hurdles, when they have questions. Generally it will come to me first, and then if it needs to be elevated to Scott or to the broader group, then we go there. But yes, so Lee and Rowan are doing a great job hitting the ground running, and I'm just kind of puppet stringing a little bit to help out where I can, but they're doing a great job and doing a lot of legwork.
All right, still sounds like you're just sitting with your feet up on the desk, but that's all right. All right, Rowan, without giving away too much, but giving away a little, like, what have you been working on? Like, give us an example or two.
Sure. So, um, as you mentioned, I had to skip watching some of our streams live because I was doing playtesting, which is a thing as the spearhead of the specifically gameplay design going on here. It's my job to get in there and work on specific figures, right? All from, like, everybody is involved at the higher levels where we're working on, like, what even is a figure, right? Genie's in there, like, it should look like something awesome, and like, that's the coolest thing I ever heard. And then we go and it should be this and this, and then when we get down to what text is going to end up on this card, that's what I'm working on, right?
Okay.
And so the
So
you were
tell
gonna
us,
say
yeah. So kind of off of that, tell us, like, what is the process that you follow typically for designing a whole new figure from scratch?
sure. So I'm really excited that the world of Heroscape is a world. And so the process for designing a whole new figure from scratch involves looking at where we think the world is going to head. So, I mean, the last thing that was mentioned out loud was the age of annihilation. So that gives you like a really meaty name, a theme, a foreboding omen of what is to come, right? And so we want to design new units that back up the fact that they were summoned. One of the Kiri generals thought it was a good idea to bring these units in during the age of annihilation. So that's where you start. And then you go from there, you pick which Kiri general, where are we going with them, which world do we want to represent being pulled from. We come up with a specific type of figure, and then from there, what balances the game, right? What is bringing something interesting to the game too? Not everything is about the minutia of balance. Sometimes you need something to just be fun or cool or interesting. So what type of niche is this figure going to fit into? And then start giving it some rules.
Cool.
That answer the question? You're smirking. You keep
Yeah,
your thumbs
yeah. No, like,
He al-
everybody's
he
always,
always- he always smirks.
everybody's, I always smirk. Yeah, everybody in chat's, fishing. It's fine. So that's good. So once you have kind of like your basis for gameplay, then, like, what's the process then? How, like, do we just go like, yeah, that looks good, like, that looks fun, throw it into the pool, right? Of
Yeah, just ship it.
yeah, just ship it. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. What could go wrong?
No. So the very first thing I do is first I make sure that the really cool idea physically fits on the card. This is one of those, like, things that is not glamorous about the job, but is like you only have so much space for English word text to go on the card. You have to keep your ideas somewhat in check, right? Assuming that all of that checks out, the first thing I do is what I call an internal play test, where I test with someone in person. I have my group of people who help me in person test this to make sure that nothing immediately explodes. Like, roll the d20, and if you get a 1 to 20, your entire opponent's army dies. Like, cool. That was awful. Awesome. So, scrap that, try something new. And then once we have something that feels like it produced fun at the table, then we would take it to a wider playtest pool. So depending on how the pool is broken up, there might be someone who I have in mind to look at this because I foresee a problem, or someone I have in mind to look at it because I want to see how it fits with their style of play and armies, etc. Give it to them to play it. Go play.
Yeah.
Play, and come back to me. And take that feedback. And again, if they're like, hey, their opponent's entire army exploded, Rowan, was it supposed to do that? You go, and go back to the drawing board, or wow, that was the most fun I ever had. Excellent, success. And we move on to the final minutia of making sure that all the wording is exactly right before we go, cool, I would print that exactly as is. Off we go.
Yeah, very cool. So one of the things, so yes, so Rowan is our lead designer for the game. We actually have a team of game designers here at Renegade besides Rowan. Matt Hyra is our senior game designer, who will get involved. One of Matt's claims to fame is he was the lead designer and developer on World of Warcraft miniatures game some years ago, and Matt has designed a bazillion games. Like, he's probably like one of the most prolific game designers in the industry, especially when it comes to IP-driven games and games based on existing worlds, like Heroscape is. Heroscape does have an existing world, and we want to continue to develop that world. But there's also a way, we also have a very large pool of playtesters out in the world. We have literally hundreds in the pool, and there are ways for fans and current players of Heroscape to get involved. So can you tell us a little bit about that?
Me?
Yes, you.
Sure.
Okay.
I don't know. Dan and Lee know about this. It's fine. You could be talking to them. No. So if for people looking to get involved, we are looking for people. Always, we're looking for good people. Especially on a living game like Heroscape, we want a wide array of people's experiences to be looking at this. New players, old players, players who play games like this but not this, players who play exactly this. Because that helps you cover your bases, right? That helps you, as I said before, certain things, certain people. But if you, person listening to this stream, are interested in being one of those people, I believe our valiant marketing team is going to be posting a link to a form you can use to apply to be a playtester for Heroscape.
That's
Just
right.
a few questions, just to get to know you, baseline,
What?
etc.
You mean the people that are actually in there can apply and become official playtesters for future Heroscape? I mean, I guess that sounds pretty good. So, marketing team, you guys can put the link in the chat whenever you're ready. But it is an application process, as you can expect. We don't take everybody, but yeah, it's too many. But we do have lots and lots of people that are in our playtest pools and work really hard. It is directed. It's not like if you think this is the chance to, like, oh, I'm just going to get a bunch of stuff like spoilers early in advance and not doing anything with it, it's not going to work out that way for you so well. But if you are really serious about play testing and getting games in and providing directed feedback, like you might actually have a mission to like test this one specific thing out and give us feedback, on these results and that sort of stuff, then this might be the right fit for you. So feel free. We like to get the community involved. We usually bring in outside playtesters kind of like later in the process, once it's gone through several rounds of design and development. But this is a way that the Heroscape community can get involved with Renegade and help develop this game all together. So there you go. And we'll post it again at the end. I haven't seen it go up in there yet, but I'm sure they're working on it. So tell us, I saw somebody earlier on, team, like ask like if you have handles on like Heroscapers and things like that. So I guess we'll go around the horn here a little bit, and like, Dan, have you spent any time on Heroscapers.com?
Yeah, I've done some lurking. I have not yet been posting, and I will though. So I don't have a handle to share at this point, but
Okay.
I will make myself known at some point.
All right. How about Lee and Rowan? Have you been spending any time over there?
I'm a lurker as well. Yeah, I will make my handle and I will post on there. So
Okay, that's
it's
fine.
yes, yep.
We will emerge
Okay.
from the shadows,
That's right. That's right.
like Rowan
Exactly.
did.
Yeah.
Yes.
Emerging.
I don't have a cloak though.
Don't have a
I can
cloak?
maybe
No?
I can maybe borrow my son's, but it'd be very small.
Okay, that's fine.
That's so cute. Oh, and as for me, I'm absolutely lurking on Heroscapers. I used to love to download the comics, read them. So thank you, whoever put those up. And I, well, I think you're implying that we should be releasing handles so that people can talk to us, right?
I mean, they can. I mean, honestly, like you know, I've been on that site for probably, I don't know, probably close to a year since you know, coming up on a year since the conversations of us getting involved with this started with
I
the.
think I've been on it for like 10 years.
Yeah,
A
yeah. No,
really
I know.
long
I'm
time.
sure much longer than me. So I've been lurking on there, but probably the best way to interact with the team that's going to be working on Heroscape is on our Discord server. So if you haven't joined our Discord server yet, join the Renegade Discord. There's 5 or 6 channels right now, something like that for Heroscape. The Heroscape chat is super active. I'm in there all the time on my phone, a lot of times like between meetings, and I'm looking and reading stuff, and sometimes I'll chime in or help maybe keep things back on the rails if people, you know, like are misunderstanding something, because I don't want you guys to be misinformed. So both Lee and Rowan have been in there quietly, I think, the last week or two, watching all of you, but I think they're ready to reveal themselves. So you'll see them. It's really easy to tell a Renegade person in the Renegade Discord. Our names are all Renegade Blue. And if you see a Renegade Blue name in there, that's an official person from Renegade. And so if they say something, you know that you're not being trolled or they're not messing around with you. I'm not saying we won't mess around with you, but
Oh, Scott will troll you. Scott will troll you definitely.
It's a lie.
what? Me? I do it in a good way. I don't know. All right. So we've kind of gone through some of those things. I guess let's look at the chat. So if you guys have questions, post them in the chat. We'll try to answer what we can of the questions in the chat. We have about 10 minutes or so. Yeah. Also, that's another good thing. I think Tim just posted in chat and said, make sure you sign up for the newsletter. We're putting that all together. I'll give you guys a little bit of an insight as to where we are. Right, we just officially took over Heroscape just a few months ago from Hasbro, and the Avalon Hill team has been phenomenal. Craig has been great. He's still involved. Anything we do kind of goes through a process with our partners over at Hasbro and Avalon Hill. Craig is involved. We send him things. He gets to see things, and they've been really, really supportive. But the last month or so, two months, has really been just taking all the stuff that we inherited from them and doing our due diligence and inventorying it and seeing what's there and making sure everything is there that we think should be there and what's not there and what other work needs to be done, because it wasn't 100% finished when it was turned over to us. There's still a lot of work to be done. We need to do a lot of graphic design and create art and tweak sculpts and test some gameplay, and all that sort of stuff. So that's what we're really focused on right now. We're running some tests with some factories and things like that, and kind of vetting factories and doing kind of like all that kind of production stuff. So I know everybody want to know everything, and we're not ready to tell you everything, but there's some things that we can tell you. So we'll kind of go through and see if there's any questions in there that we can answer, and maybe we'll tell you some things if you don't ask the right questions. So let's see. Historical units, a bunch of people were spamming historical units. There won't be any historical units in these current waves that we're working on right now because we're focused on the Age of Annihilation content. There was over 70 figures in that content, and that's what we're working on as of today. So, the far future, you never know. Let's see. Backwards compatibility, yeah, that's been stated right from the start. That's nothing new. Currently, the game is backwards compatible, and it should remain backwards compatible. That's really not that big of a deal. I just want one thing, but then you didn't say what you wanted. Oh, okay. It just said, I just want one thing, LOL.
They just wanted to laugh. They got that.
They just wanted to laugh.
Yeah.
All right, well, that's fair enough. What kind of interactions have you had with the folks from Avalon Hill other than Craig, Ben, Adam, or Rod? I don't know what that question really means. We're having interactions with the team over at Avalon Hill. They're great. They're very supportive. We spent a bunch of time with them at Gen Con, and it's just part of part of the process. Like we've been working with Hasbro now for years. We make lots of games, miniatures games, board games, cards games, RPGs with them already. So there's kind of an established process there. Let's see. Who will be running? So who will be running lore, story direction? That all comes from Renegade. We are the licensee. We are the makers of Heroscape moving forward. So everything for the Heroscape game will come from us working with our licensor. Painted or unpainted, we're not ready yet on that. It's something that we're still exploring. I think I'll state the obvious for everybody. It's not 2003 anymore. So it's just a different ball game nowadays. So, but that's not something we're ready to commit either way because we're exploring it with factories. Let's see. Okay, I don't see anything else here. Just so one question I wanted to have for the group: classic figures or old figures, current figures moving forward? Any favorites? Anything that stands out? I have one, but mine's for sinister reasons, I think, because we're going to do something cool. Well, sinister in a fun. Well, to me, sinister is a positive, I guess. In a fun way. So we're going to do something really fun with it. So I don't know. Let's go around. Like Dan. So you're relatively new to Heroscape. So what character have you? Yeah.
Let me give a I've been in the industry for a long time, but one of the other things that to know about me is I have 6 children, and when Heroscape launched in 2004 to 2010, when it was going on, I was in baby making mode. I had toddlers coming out left and right. I was working probably at Upper Deck at that point on the World of Warcraft trading card game, so I was still in the industry, but I was not exploring lots of different things. So unfortunately, I was aware of it, but I was not a participant in Heroscape. So that's why. But looking through the new figures, this stuff from Age of Annihilation is amazing. These sculpts. One that stood out to me was the Hellforge Manticore. It's like a big, fire belching machine on wheels that's got arms coming out, just belching destruction. So I'm excited to get that sucker to the table and blow up worlds. So I would say that's my favorite.
All right.
Annihilate them, perhaps.
Yes, maybe.
Right. In this age.
It's more likely than you think.
All right, so I'm going to jump in real quick, put a pause on that just because it's hard to keep up with scroll in chat. Somebody asked, we're working on organized play? Yeah, absolutely. This game is going to launch with organized play in stores and beyond, actually on day 1. We're way ahead of the game working on that sort of stuff. You have some of the most experienced organized play people probably in the industry actually here at Renegade. We've run multi-thousand person events for some of the biggest brands in the world. We can do that. I'm not worried about organized play. We're going to knock it out of the park on that. So, all right, Lee, what's your answer to this question? Past or present, Well, I
I
guess
have both.
present is future because they're not out yet, but you know. Yeah, both.
Of
Okay.
both. All right.
All right.
So, way back in the day, I really liked having like the samurai and the ninjas. But if I had to choose something from Age of Annihilation, I mean, Rowan already knows this. It's Kita, the ridiculously cute fox, and it's the teeniest, cutest little thing with like, I don't even know if they're antlers, but I'm all for Kita.
All right. Oh, we have 5-minute warning. All right, we're moving. Okay, Rowan. Figure
Me?
go. Yes.
So I loved in classic Heroscape, I always loved to field Runa. Look at her. She's awesome. Look at her. And I love the characters that have a 5% chance of destroying you. It never works out, but it's so tempting. I love to do it. And then Age of Annihilation sculpts, I just Leviatak. Look at the axe, the swinging, slicing. She's so cool. I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
Cool. All right. I'm going to answer a question real quick in chat. So somebody is asking, is this being revamped as tournament first, fun second? Well, no. So this is for fun is first. Always fun is first because these are games and games are meant to be fun. This isn't the golf pro tour where we expect people to like start becoming professional Heroscape players and and make a living playing Heroscape. This is the game. We make fun games that should be enjoyed. It doesn't mean you can't enjoy the game by being competitive, but we fully realize even the biggest games in the world, the majority of people that play them at home. And playing games at home, first and foremost, you have to cater to the largest segment of the player base, and that's casual gamers that want to play games and have fun. But you can do both. We've done both plenty of times with plenty of other games in our careers. Like Dan said, like we've been working on stuff for 20 years. And the games that have the biggest tournaments at Gen Con typically have another 80% of the player base that never goes to Gen Con and plays in the World Championship. And you can make both people happy. And that's what we're going to always strive to do. But first and foremost, the game has to be fun, or it's not a game. It's I don't know what it is anymore. Like what is a game? What's the definition of a game that's not fun if it's not a game anymore?
Candyland.
A job? A job? It's a job.
Candyland.
All right. So, I can tell you. So I'm going to let Jeannie off the hook on the character answer because she's just kind of coming onto the team. But by the next Renegade Con in early next year, when we're really ready to spill the beans on stuff, Jeannie's going to have all sorts of cool stuff to show you and characters to talk about because she's going to have all the cool art and sculpts and things like that. I'm really excited about Raylan for many reasons because what Rowan's working on got me really excited. It also got Craig very excited. And what marketing is working on has also got me really excited about that character. And if everything aligns and goes well, I think we're going to do some really cool, fun things, not just in the game, but outside of the game, possibly. And we'll see. We'll see. So that's very TZ trolly. So I guess I am a troll. So there you go.
I feel like I should change my answer to Raylan. Raylan's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah.
Raylan's the obvious answer for me.
It's true.
Like,
it's the obvious answer, but sometimes it's obvious because it's a good answer. Like
it is the answer.
Somebody asked, will they be able to find new Heroscape in France? Yeah, you should be able to find new Heroscape in France. We have Renegade France. So Renegade France, we do a partnership with one of our localization partners. There's actually French social media. There's a Facebook group. They set up at conventions and stuff in France. I'd say what, Dan, like 80-90% of all of our games come out in French.
Good job.
Yeah. French is easy. No problem. Like you'll be in good hands over in French. We have a really good team over there. Let's see. Somebody says, I'm kind of scared for Rowan's ravenous appetite for destruction. No, it's in a good way. It's okay. It's okay. Old sculpts reprinted.
I said I also like Raylan. It's fine. Everything balances out. It's
It'll
fine.
be fine. It'll be fine. I mean, maybe there's two Rowans. We don't know. Like, there's cloaked Rowan where she's gonna lay waste to Valhalla, and then there's good Rowan. So old sculpts, people were asking about that. No, we're not going back and reprinting old figures. We're moving forward, and all new figures, new gameplay. None of the molds exist for the old stuff anyway, guys. Like, they're long, long gone. So if you were to remake those figures, you would just have to make new molds. So we're not going to spend that time and energy making figures that have already come before. We're going to make stuff going forward. That doesn't mean that you might not see personas from the past reappear. That's possible. But we're not just going to go back and rehash what's been done before. That doesn't sound very exciting to us. There's a couple other common questions that I know that I've answered in Discord recently. People have asked if all the content that was up on the HasLive campaign will be used, and the answer is yes, including all the stretch goals and things like that. You're going to get to see all that content at some time. Doesn't mean you're going to get it all on day one, but you're going to get it pretty close, to the first year or so. So let's see. Somebody asked, will there be efforts made to make sure that people who can't access old figures can stay competitive? Yeah, that's really easy with different tournament formats and things like that. We would never run, for example, a major tournament and say that you have to have, that figures that are out of print and not available to everybody would be legal in that sort of an event. But that doesn't mean we can't run events that also, allow classic figures. So, we'll try to take care of everybody. And again, it's all about fun. So, lots of different tournament formats and stuff like that. So I think we're running over.
And if I may, Scott, the master box, if it's not too much of a spoiler, is intended to be played by people who don't already own Heroscapes and people who do. Of course, it's backwards compatible, but you don't need to already have an army to be able to use what's about to come out.
Correct. It'll be standalone, fully playable right out of the box. So I think we have to wrap it up. They're going to start to bring out the hook and push us off stage. I just want to say, so the next 3 months are critical for us. We're working really hard. We will be launching Heroscape next year in 2024, and sometime in Q1 next year, maybe the next Renegade Con or somewhere right around there. That's where we're just going to reveal everything that's coming in Wave 1. There's multiple waves being planned, but Wave 1, and get to show off lots of stuff. And probably the best way to make sure that maybe we will spill some beans, trickle some along the way before the big reveal next year, is to join our Discord, because we're all in there. Dan can attest that occasionally, I just kind of get cheeky and decide to just tell you something. And the rest of the team's like, what? You spoiled that? And, sure, why not? You guys deserve it sometimes. But join the Discord, join the newsletter. If you're serious about playtesting, apply to become a playtester. And one last question for everybody before we go, and then we're going to sign off. We're going to start with Jeannie. Are you a cat person or a dog person? Oh, and wait, no, and 2 questions. And what's your favorite flavor of ice cream? This is the true test of who you are.
Well, if you heard earlier, my dogs bark, so that should give you an idea. I have 3 dogs, 2 Beagle Rescues, and a wonderful mutt who's going to be turning about 18 this month. She's hanging in there, sweet little Abby. Right. So yeah, I'm a dog person. My favorite ice cream, strawberry.
Strawberry. All right, Dan, go. We're running out of time. Quick.
Dog person and cookies and cream.
All right, nice. Lee.
Oh my God, I'm creeped out because I pretty much have the same answers as Dan. Cookies and cream, but I love both cats and dogs. Dogs for the personality, cats because you can cuddle them. I mean, you can cuddle dogs too, but yeah.
Sounds good.
I can't pick one.
All right, Rowan looks perplexed. Let's see what she has to say. Go.
Oh, well, I was just listening to make sure my cat did not throw up during this stream, so I did not change my answer. It can still be cat.
Okay.
And caramel ice cream. I must always
caramel
be
ice cream.
cracked.
All right. For me, I started off as a dog person. I've grown into a cat person. And the correct ice cream answer always, you're all wrong on ice cream. The correct answer for ice cream is all ice cream is wonderful. There's no bad ice cream. That's the right answer. So, all right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. I know there's more that you want to know. We're going to tell you more as soon as it's ready. We're not going to tell you things until they're ready. Join us on Discord. Enjoy the rest of Renegade Con, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.